Love and peace to you. This is a verbal discourse on our Welt Ethos. My name is Peter Johansson Osisi, and I work with Arasona Ashram. And these are some. This is an introduction to some teachings within Christianity regarding the principle of Shu, the fifth principle, numero cinco, of our Welt Ethos. And so Jesus very much shares a doctrine of love. There is the word agape that is utilized to describe much of this. And so it is a matter of having genuine compassion for the human experience, the experience of suffering, and in going further to heal, to alleviate that suffering, and to share the experience of heavenly joy, serenity, and peace through compassion, through this compassion, through these acts of healing and compassion. So that is throughout the Gospels of Christianity. But also, even further, there are direct articulations of Shu, the Golden Rule, reciprocity, within the Gospels. One such articulation is within Matthew 22, 34 a 40, chapter 22, verse 33 through 40. But when the Pharisees heard that he had silenced the Sadducees, they came together, and one of them, a lawyer, asked him a question to test him. Teacher, which is the great commandment in the law? And he said to him, You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the great and first commandment. A second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments depend all the law and the prophets. Matthew 22, 34 a 40, chapter 22, verse 34 through 40. Right there, love your neighbor as yourself. That is Shu, that is reciprocity, that is the golden rule. And that is a direct summation of the responsibilities that individuals have in engaging with each other. Again, it may be considered as comparatively abstract, but it is also immediately accessible. Each individual has an idea of what one individual wants for oneself, and in turn has the propensity of providing that to others. This actually is a teaching that's shared by many different traditions and many different religious teachers, spiritual teachers. And Jesus draws from his Jewish heritage and background and training to convey this convey this principle. But it goes further. Jesus teaches further that it can be simple and to one loves his neighbor as oneself. It can be strategic even. Because in doing so, there can be the tendency of having an expectation of being treated the same. Jesus teaches that beyond just loving one's neighbor or our neighbors, we are to love our enemies and those with whom we have tremendous difficulties. And that is an even higher, greater compassion and piety. And this is conveyed within Matthew 5:43 a 44, excuse me, 43 a 48, chapter 5, verse 43 through 48. You have heard that it was said, You shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, so that you may be sons of your Creator who is in heaven. For God makes God's sun rise on the evil and on the benevolent, and sends rain on the just and on the unjust. For if you love those who love you, what reward have you? Do not even the tax collectors do the same? And if you salute only your brethren, what more are you doing than others? Do not even the Gentiles do the same? You therefore must be perfect, as your heavenly Creator is perfect. And that is from Matthew 5:43 a 48, chapter 5, verse 43 through 48. So again, it's a selfless love. It's a love that transcends our ego. and it transcends our our um, our selfish tendencies and even um, our pragmatic strategies and motivations for sustaining ourselves. It can be considered even very much illogical and inexplicable, radical even. Um, that is the nature of the compassion and the love that Jesus teaches. That is shu. That is the golden rule. And these are some of the teachings within Christianity regarding shu. The fifth principle, principle numero cinco, of our Welt ethos, amore pax.